What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and Merry Christmas Eve to all of you. Happy Hanukkah to our friends of that persuasion. Welcome. I am Love Coach Scott Gatamas. I'm your host for The Awakening World, and it's wonderful to be with you. And we have a really wonderful show planned. Everybody who's on our show as presenters tonight are people I have so much respect for as we really explore the deeper meaning of the Christ consciousness, and the cosmic Christ. And so we're going to really go deep into a beautiful exploration of that. Now, I want to welcome all of our friends that have come into our Zoom room. I see, of course, a lot of our regulars are with us. And even though you do it every time, let us know where you are geographically. It's always wonderful to see that we've got people from Ecuador to Australia, up to British Columbia, and all throughout the United States. I also want to welcome our friends who are watching on YouTube. Thank you, Alan Steinfeld, for always opening up your YouTube channel. And a big thank you to our new friends watching on the Conscious Awakening Network. That's our newest broadcast partner. And most of all, a big thank you to John and Summer Raymer. They run the Sign Network that gets us out to over 100 Facebook groups and pages. So I know a lot of you are watching that way. And I want to invite you, come on into our Zoom room. Come join the Global Peace Tribe. We're a wonderful community, ever growing, with really like-minded souls that are committed to a peaceful awakening of our planet. And it's really easy to come and join us. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and you'll see where it says join winter season now, winter for us here in North America. And that's where you'll be able to register. And we do 3 shows, sometimes more, every weekend. The shows are always amazing. And when you register, you're going to get the links for all of our shows from now all the way till April 1st. Last night, we had a really fun show, World Peace Through Awesome Sex. You should go back and watch that one. It was a lot of fun. Tonight's show, of course, is all about celebrating the cosmic Christ and Celestine Star. And many of you knew Celestine. She passed away over the summer, but we're going to really celebrate her in a wonderful way. But we're also going to hear from some remarkable people, and you're going to meet them in just a moment. And then normally we have a Sacred Sunday show, but tomorrow is both Christmas Day and my birthday. So for the first time in 2 years, we will not have a Sacred Sunday show tomorrow. But we normally do, and it's always magical and wonderful. So come join us. Also, what's great about joining the Global Peace Tribe is that way you're in the Zoom room, we can see your questions, we can dialogue with you. Plus, you will then get an email with the recordings of all of our previous shows every Monday, access to our shows, and announcements about upcoming events. So come and join the Global Peace Tribe. All right, I want to introduce who's going to be with us tonight. And this whole show was really inspired by JJ and Desiree Hurtak. They are two of the great scholars of our time who have a tremendous understanding of spirituality from many different points of view. And they have written a brand new book on the cosmic Christ and the 76, there it is, they're holding it right up, the 76 sacred names and expressions of the myriad names of the cosmic Christ. So we're going to learn all about that from them. And JJ and Desiree, thank you so much for being with us.
God, great work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jack. I read the Keys of Enoch a long time ago. And so it's always an honor to be with you personally or on the show. So thank you. And Desiree, you are a force of nature. Thank you for all that you do to get this incredible work out to the world.
Well, Merry Christmas to everyone tonight.
Thank you. Hey, I also have two of my dearest friends who are here, Donny and Heather. And they really are longtime friends. Donny and I have been working together since the 1980s. He and Heather also bring a tremendous alchemy, really. And they're all about the mystical alchemy of their musical talents, their spiritual understanding. And they both were very connected through the same church that our beloved Celestine Star was a part of, and we'll hear all about that. And they also have a very special dedication tonight that I am really glad to share with the Global Peace Tribe. We also have with us Elizabeth Kelley. And Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. I've, on many occasions, attended Elizabeth's presentations. She is a priestess in the Holy Order of Mary Magdalene, and really one of the most recognized scholars about Mary Magdalene. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say about the cosmic Christ. And where Mary Magdalene is mentioned, Christy Michaels is not far behind. Here's Christy, who also has really been very prominent in bringing forward our greater understanding about Mary Magdalene and also the Gospel of Holy Sophia. So thank you.
The Gospel of Mary Magdalene is the primary one that I do, but it's the Holy Sophia is right there on the top of one of the most suppressed.
Yeah, and we just did a show on that recently.
Yeah.
That's why that jumped out at me in my memory.
Yeah.
And of course, Celestine and dear Christy were very close friends.
Yes, super.
Now, we always have wonderful music, and I am so delighted. I couldn't think of anybody that I would rather have playing on Christmas Eve than our beloved Johanna Beekman, who I think you hold the record for the most appearances by a musical artist on Global Peace Tribe shows. So thank you.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Some of them have been from the road, and you're always accommodating, and I loved everyone. So thanks for the inclusivity and all of it. It's been fun to be a part of the tribe.
Oh, Johanna, you bring so much to it, so much love and so much artistry. And of course, we have our wonderful house musical artist, Omashar, who is going to provide something a little bit different than what we've ever heard Omashar do before.
Yes, so, Christmas greetings and namaste, everybody.
It's going to be a very special show. So welcome, everybody. Let us know where you are geographically. And because we do like to always kick it off with music, I'm going to go right back to Johanna for our opening song.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
I wanted to just share a brand new single. I'm working on finishing up an album of yoga soundtracks. It'll be called Yoga Soundtracks Volume 2. And this is the first single that we released from it the day of my festival in the fall. So I've not played it for you yet. So it's called Love Lives. And since we're dedicating this to our beloved Celestine Star, I had lost a friend right after the festival, and after releasing this song, it was quite helpful for his beloved who he left behind. And so I'm going to share this song called Love Lives, and we'll always know that our beloveds are with us living. and all things.
from love grows
So I'll take a moment just to remember those friends of ours that have passed this year. And I know that I think almost all of us know people that have left their bodies. Let's just take a minute in this beautiful energy field that Johanna has created to remember our beloveds who are on the other side.
Love lives in all ways.
Thank you, Johanna. Johanna's going to be with us later on tonight, but I also just want to let people know that there's a wonderful opportunity, and that is to go to Costa Rica with her. Now, those of you that are regulars, you know that she's an incredible yogini. She put on the amazing Bhakti Love reunion that many of you went to, and that we highlighted a show on. And she and her girlfriend Sherry are going to be doing sacred chanting yoga. Tell us about what's going to be happening during this beautiful week in paradise.
Well, first off, it's a beautiful week in paradise with monkeys everywhere and perfect weather in March. And I don't know where all of y'all live, but I live in Oregon. And then, you know, Topanga Canyon's still not quite warm yet. So I need to get out. So come with me and celebrate in all of these incredible practices that have really helped me in my path through music and sound healing and mantra and yoga and sacred chant and devotional practices and pranayama, which is breath practice, relaxation, yoga nidra, nature walks, and also ocean time at this gorgeous space. It's called Tierra Encada that we're going to be at, this beautiful retreat center. And it has a infinity pool, and it's up in the mountains above the ocean, and you can see like you're in the ocean from the pool. And we'll be taking some exquisite journeys down to the pool, and then fireside singing and chanting where we kind of awaken your soul's song in the evening in a teepee with a gorgeous fire. So it's going to be a really lovely experience. My friend Sherry is a Kripalu yoga teacher, 1,000+ hours, and we met on the road in the East Coast, and she's been habitating there. And I don't know if you're familiar with Deva Premal in Mitten, but I certainly am. And she's been working for them, and they'll be stopping by here and there to connect. And I'm very excited for that part because I have not, in all of my journeys around this mantra world, gotten a chance to connect with them in person. So that's part of why I'm going, and I look forward to seeing you there and kind of just enjoying being in presence with people that I haven't gotten the chance to. So, you know, whether we're online together or at a festival together, I find that I have very close friends that are very far away. And so I'd like to bring you closer and get to know you in that sacred space.
Beautiful. How easy is it for your puppy to go in and out of Costa Rica? Are they pretty mellow about that?
She'll be staying at home. She's actually blind in one eye at least now, so she's getting a little older, and she's not traveling with me like she used to. You see pictures of me with her on stage at festivals and everywhere. She's hashtag Coco Across America on Instagram. You can follow her as well. And she's amazing, but you heard her, she's a little old and cranky now, so she just wants to kind of hang out. My parents have a dog that's actually deaf, so they kind of, they're seeing eye and hearing dogs for each other, so they've got a symbiotic relationship of sorts.
Well, thank you, Johanna. She'll be back with more.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I do know a friend who adopted a dog when they went to Costa Rica, so it is not impossible.
Yeah, well, no, what I'm wondering is if I
bring
would
them in.
bring in mine. That's what.
Yeah. I know that my friend brought her dog from mainland who's living there that I'm co-leading the retreat with, so we can connect offline about that.
Yeah, let's talk
I'm
about
sure
that.
it should be fine. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Thank you,
Thank
Johanna.
you. See you soon.
Well, I'm going to actually do two introductions. I'm going to introduce JJ and Desiree, and then we're going to introduce Reverend Matthew Fox, who did a pre-record with me. But here they are. This is JJ and Desiree Hurtak. And I know many of you know who they are. Many of you have read the books. But just a little bit for those of you who don't know, or a little bit more. They're social scientists, futurists, and the founders of the International Academy for Future Science. And their presentations on UFO phenomena go back to 1977. That's how long they've been involved in this field. And they worked with everybody from Gordon Cooper. You know, we should compare notes because I did a pair of interviews with Gordon Cooper in 1994. So we should talk about that sometime. Of course, he is the author of The Keys of Enoch, which is one of the great, it's really like the Bible, or one of the Bibles of New Thought literature. It's been sold in over 20 different languages. So it's really wonderful to have you here. And I'm really looking forward to hearing this new research that you're bringing forward, 5 years in the making, with your book. And I think in a way, this is kind of like the preview of the release of this new book that you've been working on.
Yes, it is, Scott. So Dr. Jack and I put together this interesting book on the names of the cosmic Christ. And it's mostly names that he was called while he was on the planet, but we put it on a higher perspective. So we'll talk about it later.
It covers the Aramaic, the Hebrew, and the Greek languages, also the Coptic references to Christ as the cosmic Christ, the cosmic deliverer, or the savior figure that was known to the ancient Near Eastern thinkers, philosophers, and mystics.
Wow. Well, really looking forward to hearing your comments on it. And we also are going to be hearing by pre-record with someone that I know you appreciate very much, and that's Reverend Matthew Fox. And again, for anybody who doesn't know who he is, he's written 38 books and lectures, retreats all over the world. I used to always go to his Cosmic Mass, and I know many of us went to the Cosmic Mass that he used to do in the Bay Area, and he also took it all over the country. He is really, truly one of the great theologians of our time. And so I'm going to play this pre-record video that I did and kind of periodically stop it and get some feedback from JJ and Desiree, including at the beginning, he talks about Hanukkah. And when we're kind of complete with that part, I'm going to come back to you because you've got a beautiful chant that I think will really be quite a lovely connection to what's going on. So thank you, JJ and Desiree, for being with us. And here we go with Reverend Matthew Fox. Maybe some of the history of Hanukkah, of Christmas, and any commonalities between those two.
Yes, there's a wonderful book that came out recently. In fact, I was asked to endorse it, and happily so, called Judaism for the World by Rabbi Arthur Green. And he has a wonderful chapter in there, short but very rich, about Hanukkah. And he summarizes it really in 2 words. The first word is light, and the second word is miracles. But he defines miracle as our capacity, our experience of wonder, our experience of marveling. And there are 2 marvels involved with the Hanukkah feast day. One is the marvel of the Maccabees, who he calls a rag-bag tribe, a small little tribe, who took on the empire, the descendants actually of Alexander's army, and defeated them. It's kind of like a David and Goliath story, actually. Little ragtag band who took on the empire and won. So that's like a miracle. It's a great marvel, as I say, not unlike David and Goliath. And Christians too were a ragtag little band of believers taking on the Roman Empire, or at least trying to survive under the Roman Empire in the 1st century. And of course, they didn't fare very well, because a number of them, as people know, were literally thrown to the lions, etc. But and then of course the second marvel to Hanukkah is the mystery and wonder and miracle of candles that burn for 8 days nonstop. Of course, this is time of candles and not electricity. So both of those things. Now, what Rabbi Green tells us is that the rabbi, you see, after the Maccabees won and so forth, sometime later, their descendants were not good Jews. The rabbis felt that they were lurching too far in the direction of Greek and Hellenistic culture and values. And so they didn't want to celebrate the experience of the expulsion of the Greek army that much, because they didn't want to keep this feast day going. But they were in a quandary, because the people really liked this holiday, if you will, this great feast day of celebrating this great victory. So the rabbis kind of then switched to emphasizing Hanukkah not as a victory over the Greeks, but regarding this miracle or wonder of the candles that burned. So that's very interesting to me. I think that the rabbis kind of reinvented the feast day because they kind of had to, without sacrificing their own values and what they're trying to teach the people. Now, something is parallel with the Christmas, because Christmas actually didn't occur, the first official Christmas, till 336. That's the 4th century, of course. And that's because while the Christians were underground a lot for the first century and a half and fighting the empire, they didn't gather for a Christmas occasion really until the year 336. And that was after Constantine became emperor and then converted to Christianity. And then he made kind of a universal celebration. He also built the church at the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, supposedly where the spot where Jesus was born and so forth. So I'm just pointing out that there's an evolution in these feast days, and yet both of them have in common the emphasis on light. And of course, that has a lot to do with the time of the year, the low point, if you will, the winter solstice, and the darkest time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. And both feast days then have that in common, the celebration, the miracle of light. And of course, for the Jewish people, it was the light of the Hanukkah candle. And for the Christians, it was the light of the Christ coming at the darkest time of the year. So in the Hebrew tradition, you have this celebration of light. The Psalm 27 got Yahweh is my light and my salvation. And Psalm 36, in your light, we see light. And 2 Samuel, Yahweh shall be a light to you forever. And so, and then also the Torah is light, which is from Proverbs 6. So there's all this celebration of light. And in the Zohar, the mystical tradition of Judaism, the word Zohar means shining or brilliance. So that's the Jewish tradition. It's the celebration of light in the deepest sense of the word. Now, the Christian story also is all about light. Jesus saying, you be the light of the world. Do not hide your light under a bushel. And in John's gospel, Christ is saying, I am the light of the world, and be children of light. And in John's epistle, it says, God is light. So there's this very great consensus between among the Hanukkah celebrators and the Christmas celebrators around the glory of light. And in my study, One River, Many Wells, on all the world's spiritual traditions, I have a whole chapter dedicated to light, because I found that light is the most common synonym for divinity around the world. In all the world religions, it gets that kind of attention. And then if we add today's teaching from science, that matter is frozen light. That's postmodern science. That's David Bohm's words. Matter is frozen light. So to me, that's an incredible affirmation of what the religious traditions are saying here, that all matter contains light. We now know that there are photons, light waves, in every atom in the universe. So this, and then of course, Einstein said that he wanted to spend his whole life doing nothing but studying light. Of course, Einstein is Jewish, comes from that Hanukkah tradition. And so this gathering around light is so powerful. And really, I interpret that scientific statement to be an affirmation of the real meaning of incarnation, that the light of divinity has joined the light of matter. In fact, matter is light, frozen light, slow moving light. And that is the celebration of creation and of everything that Christmas stands for and that Hanukkah stands for. So that's kind of my brief pitch on the excitement of this holiday season around the deep and sacred teachings about light. And of course, in the Jewish tradition, in the Genesis 1, and we're told that light was the first creation. And that's not the sunlight, because the sun comes later in the evolution, the creation story in Genesis, but that there was light before the sun. It was a different kind of light. It was more like a divine and subtle and mysterious light. And this is a light that enlightens human beings. This is a light that visits us in the person of Christ, but in so many other ways as well. In fact, we can, in the bush that burned, that Moses experienced, we now know that every bush is a burning bush, because every bush contains this light that is the photons that you might say illuminate or made possible every atom in the universe.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. We love Matthew Fox because he really does understand. It's like the Eskimos talk about snow. You know, the people of light can talk about light. And we believe we actually all of us were first light beings. And that's how we got to be how we are. It wasn't all like, 4 million years of evolution that we decided to have 5 fingers and 5 toes. That was our light essence. That's our higher self. And we've seen light come into the room. I know most of your guests probably have too. The light is still active, not only within our DNA and who we are, but it's active around us through the power of, we'll say, the higher dimensional realities that are also manifesting.
Our body is gravitationally trapped light. This is the essence of the work of Enoch. And lesson tone, one of the Hebrew expressions.
So or means light. Also, Uri is light, because basically it's the power of bringing in the energy of light.
If we can intone this 8 times for a Hanukkah Festival of Lights.
Right, we're going to intone the Ein Sof Or. Some of you, if you're Kabbalist, you're familiar with this, because Ein Sof really means no thing. So it means limitless. There's no restriction, no limitation. Light is everywhere. Light is everything. And just to say a few words about Hanukkah, what he was describing is that they thought they only had light for one day. I believe it was in the temple. And that light anyway, by a miracle, lasted 8 days, because that light is fed from these higher, greater dimensions. So Ein Sof light shows that we're all interconnected. There's no limitation. You have light, I'm light, we're all light. All energy on this planet is not just from the sun, but the higher light. It's from the greater reality.
And we were told in the Gospels that Jesus and his family recognized Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. And so I'll lead you together, if possible, 8 times. For the 8 candles, we would call also for the 8th chakra, which opens up the 7th seal into the higher self, the Christ itself.
And see yourself receiving the light.
Ein Sof Or, 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 Ein Sof We see the power of God's word when it is magnified through the voice in deep meditation, as well as linguistic and musical celebration.
So let's hear more about Matthew Fox and his great words.
Well, I just want to say thank you. That was beautiful to hear that vibration. And so thank you. Thank you very much for that. And we will go back to Matthew, but I'm just so delighted to have you both with us. It's really is an honor to have you with us and witnessing and commenting and sharing your wisdom. Thank you. I love everything that you just shared was so fascinating. And I am appreciating, I was raised in the Christian tradition, the double entendre of Jesus, the Christ consciousness representing the light to lighten up humanity, to bring love back into the world. And that it's also celebrated very close to the darkest day, close to the solstice, where, you know, it's the darkest day of the year for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. So there is this beautiful double entendre that I've been in the awareness of. How would you, from your perspective, how do you differentiate between kind of the Jesus story and the Jesus myth and the Christ consciousness that he represents? And do you perceive that that Christ consciousness is actually what the second coming of Christ really means, that is available to each and every one of us as we attain that Christ consciousness?
Indeed. Yes, this the story that embellishes Christmas in the Christian tradition is not literal history, but it's a powerful story that the early followers of Jesus created and embellished. And it's all about the cosmic Christ. It's all about the cosmos, because there are angels in it. And the angels visit the shepherds, who are the poorest of the poor, because they, and also are highlighted in society because they smell like sheep. They're living with sheep literally 24 hours a day. And then you have the Magi, who are these pagan philosophers, astrologers, or scientists, whatever you want to call them, following a star. Again, a cosmic moment. And then, of course, the actual birth of the Christ at a manger, where the animals are present, where the animals feed. That's what a manger is. And so it's an incredible encircling gathering of all these cosmic forces. And the angels, the first word out of the mouth of the angels to these poorest of the poor, the sheep, the shepherd who smell like sheep, is peace to people of all people of goodwill. So it's very, very ecumenical. It's very embracing, and it's a promise of peace. And of course, there's also the shadow present, the whole story of Herod wanting to kill Jesus, and therefore going out, sending his men out to kill all the newborn boys in the area. All this, that of course is a telling of how difficult the life of Jesus is going to be. It's kind of a warning about the coming crucifixion, because it's the same organization that is Herod and the Roman Empire that was going to do Jesus in 30 years from his birth among the animals. So, of course, these stories come so much to the early Christians, and all those who wrote the Christian Bible were Jews. And so this story of the oxen, for example, that's in Isaiah 1, and where it says that the ox and the donkey have known me, but the people have not. The people have turned their backs on me. So the early Christians, who were very knowledgeable, of course, of their Jewish roots and their Jewish scriptures, pulled all these stories and gathered them into this one very beautiful and archetypal story. And that's the point that, Marianne Woodman, the Jungian analyst, she says that she meets a lot of people who dream about the birth of a divine child. And she says the dreamer is astonished by its beauty, its capacity to talk with the wisdom of an elder. The old life dies, a new life is born, the soul finds a new world. that's the archetypal. That's why the Christmas story hangs around so long, not because it's literal historical truth, but because it taps into the archetypal yearnings of humankind, and that people do dream about a divine child. And what does that mean? And that is good news. And it is like a new start and a new beginning. So the historical Jesus, of course, teaches important truths, many of them drawn from his own Jewish background, such as compassion. Be you compassionate as your creator in heaven is compassionate, Luke 6. But he gets that from his Jewish tradition, where compassion is the secret name for God. So he's letting out these secrets and making them available to everybody. And so I think that has a lot to do with the birth of the Christ, that you pick up on the values and that Jesus is teaching, but these are values that go far beyond his own circle, his own team, even his own Jewish heritage, where he does say near the end of his life to preach this good news to all the creatures, And so the cosmic Christ is a celebration of the light in all things. That's what John 1 says, that the Logos, the word of God, is a light in all beings. So it's an absolute gathering of the universe. Now, of course, no one knew back then, or indeed up to 5 years ago, that there were 2 trillion galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars. That's a big universe. But in terms of light, the light is present in all those galaxies and all those stars. And that's how we know about them. And that's how we know about the 13.8 billion years that bring us here. And so the Christ is present in all of us. That light is present in us, but we humans, unlike the other creatures, have to work on polishing it up and paying attention to it. We get so distracted by our agendas and our problems that we wander from what it really means to be human. And I think that's really at the heart of Jesus' teaching, is causing us to remember what it means to be human. And to be human means we are capable of compassion. We are capable of peace. We are capable of forgiveness. We are capable of joy. And the cosmic Christ is a reminder that this energy is really one energy. As Judaism teaches, as Islam teaches, everything is one. And the oneness itself is God. That's the name for God. And that we humans are invited to undergo oneing, as Julian Norwich calls it, that we can one with the divine. The other creatures one with the divine, but they don't have to think about it. And they don't wander so far as we do. Every dog, Thomas Merton, the great Catholic monk, whose picture actually is over my head here behind me, he says that every non-two-legged creature is a saint. It's only the humans who have to return because we wander so far, and we get so involved with our own narcissism and all the rest. So I think that the cosmic Christ is a reminder that we're part of a great whole, and the whole itself is holy. And of course, science reminds us, you take the film of the history of the universe and run it backwards, and it all goes back to one place, to a dot smaller than a zygote that burst into the fireball and into everything that's happened since. So it's all one. And that's the cosmic Christ. It's all one, it's all glorious, it's all glistening, it's all a gift. And that's what we're invited to fall in love with all over again in a season like this.
I'm always so inspired when I talk to you, and when I listen to you, I should say. Absolutely. He really wraps up a pretty big story quite succinctly, don't you think?
We love him very much because he expresses really the ecumenical Christ that brings together not only the Abrahamic religions, but in a mystical sense, all those who are looking for the higher truth and compassion within the aspects of the human heart.
And I think it's important, though, to continue to define the cosmic Christ, because basically we feel that that is not centered on this planet, that right now it is really permeates the entire universe, and it comes from other dimensional realms we consider. So I know some people, we've talked to Whitley Strieber, you're familiar with him. He did a book on the Christ, and he felt that Christ or Jesus graduated from the planet, and that's how he got his ascension. We don't agree with that, actually. We think that Christ came from the higher dimensions. We, in a sense, all of us, not just me, but all of us also came from those higher dimensions. We came here for a reason. And I think that's why there's 8 billion people right now on this planet right now, because all of us have the potential to call in the cosmic Christ or the higher Christ consciousness.
So Christmas Eve is the illustration of the cosmic Christ incarnate into the historic Jesus or Yeshua. And the reason of 76 names is you look carefully at Matthew's gospel. He lists 76 names from Adam to Jesus, Yeshua, in the Hebrew that have significant meanings and nuances, not simply for Mother Earth, but for the trillions of galaxies, universes, et cetera, that we're beginning to understand. We are at the lip of a fantastic breakthrough in the new consciousness cosmology.
Right. I think with the changes, and I know some of you are depressed about some of the things you're having to face, whether it's economic or we'll say, sustainable development, all those things that we've failed to be able to do, but we haven't failed yet in bringing in the Christ consciousness. I believe we can do that. And we've used that power of Christ even to change storms. And I saw there was a little chat there from Pennsylvania, and hopefully they're doing okay. But even in, we were just in Arizona, and we said, we want to have that storm give us water. We want to have that storm give us what's necessary, but we don't want that storm to hurt anybody or anything. That includes animals as well. So we are empowered by the presence of this cosmic Christ to be able to do more.
This is called the man-God or the woman-God partnership, realizing the divine spark within us exemplified by Yeshua, but also recognizing in the greater traditions, the mystical traditions of all of the authentic prophets throughout history. It comes down to divine love in human service.
So we ask everyone on this Christmas Eve to start visualizing how they can bring in that higher divine Christ energy.
It's illustrated by the great Argentinian artist Fedar, showing the names of the Creator, Father, source of all sources, and then the Christ in the heavens.
But see him now coming into and above the earth, penetrating the earth with you, helping you to be able to bring that greater energy to this planet so that the next year you are active co-participants with the Christ or with the Buddha or with the cosmic dimensions that can make a difference for this planet. And one of the books we did do, I think you were mentioning this on a more personal level earlier, Dr. Jack and I wrote a book, it's a commentary on the Pistis Sophia.
5 volumes of the lost teaching of Jesus that were brought together by Coptic scholars explaining Jesus' teaching to his disciples after his resurrection.
And it was a teaching where he talks about the heavens and how important it is for us to have wisdom, and technically, of course, Sophia means wisdom, and pistis, which means faith, but having the ability, with faith, you can move mountains. And I think that's what's so important right now, that we know we can actually change the course of reality. If we can't do it for the whole planet, we can do it for those around us to really help, not by hitting someone saying, you got to stop doing this, you got to do it this way better, but by prayer, by energies, by transformation.
Faith active in love. Now, many understand the Christmas story to be simply myth that was handed down by Judeo-Christian scholars. We differ because we are also social scientists. We've worked in remote sensing technology and image enhancement. I, in particular, with Dr. Don Lin, at Jet Propulsion Lab in Los Angeles. He was part of the original STIRP committee studying the shroud, but he also developed a technology that showed other features that were not present in the scientific debates of the 1970s that saw the shroud simply as a medieval forgery.
So what was the shroud? And we were talking about light, and this goes right back to the time of Hanukkah and what we were saying. Basically, it was a cloth that actually wrapped all the way around the back and the front of the Christ. You're only seeing a little part of this. We've actually gone there twice when it's been open to actually see it, and I'll say feel the energy connected with it. The back and the front has the same radiations. There's blood stains on there, which they recently tested to be AB blood, whether it's Christ or not, we don't know. It's been around for a long time.
This is by the Swiss criminologist Max Fry and others.
But there is no paint on this entire shroud. It's all like light radiation, like you put, something out near a window, and after years, it all, some parts of it are lighter than others. That's where the energy comes through.
And this next document shows the work of Dr. Don Lin at Jet Propulsion Lab, bringing out the three-dimensionality of the face that could not come from a painted image.
Right. So if it was painted, it wouldn't look this three-dimensional. There was a radiation of light where every cell of his being, and we believe this is true for not only him, but it could be true for all of us in a transformation, literally became from matter back to light. And we do believe that matter came from light, as Matthew Fox had said, and as many others have talked about.
So others believe, like Dr. Jackson and Dr. Jumper, who were part of the original strip team, that Jesus was able to sublimate the energy of his body. And so you would see this unique aspect of the body in the state of weightlessness with perfect homogeneous distribution of light on all sides, which cannot happen unless there is a superluminal event. So
I want to just give context, because of course, most of us, or many of us, are familiar with the Shroud of Turin, but for anybody who's not, I just want to give context to what we're talking about, because this is so fascinating, and having your deeper understanding of it is profound. So what they're referencing is the Shroud of Turin, which is, many believe, I think we believe, the cloth that was over Jesus. And it has this extraordinary impression that has been left. And people have been studying it, and has a long history. But this is the cloth that was over Jesus after the crucifixion. And then apparently something quite extraordinary took place that created this impression on the cloth. So just wanted to make sure everybody had the context.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're so used to people kind of knowing some of this. So it really shows, in our belief, how you can go from matter back to light, because that's our original source. As we said, we were light beings, we became matter. In fact, the Bible even says we took on bodies of skin. Well, what happens afterwards? Basically you can take those bodies of skin and transform them back into light. That's how we feel. We have, a certain number of rib cages, which are 12, certain types of divisions of the spine, which divide 5, 7, 12 as well. So these are mathematical unfoldments, we believe, from light energy.
Even more remarkable has been the publication of documentation showing this close-up of the face of Jesus and the shroud through image enhancement analysis. We see Nazareth, we see the names connected with the Christ in the Hebrew, the Latin, the Greek, and also underneath the chin, we see an unusual geometric form. In the Keys of Enoch, I speak of this geometric form as representing the Aramaic language that was spoken by Jesus in his ministry. In essence, this is a very interesting proof text that suggests that in addition to the shroud, there was a death certificate put over the shroud, and the sublimation process absorbed the fine iron-like material of the ink into the shroud itself.
Right, so through image enhancement now, they've seen that there's actually letters, and it does say Nazarene on there. So that probably is an accurate rendition. I just want to say, when we're talking about light, this is something that happened with Dr. Hurtak, and we were in Tulum, Mexico. I know some of our other speakers today are in Mexico, and this light literally appeared. And the light
I was speaking of the Father in the Hebrew, and Jesus the Christ in the Hebrew and the Aramaic as a sign and testimony to a sacred area of the indigenous. This tremendous light we call a superluminal light burst occurred around my body, holding the text I was reading from.
So we have to say, why did Christ come to this planet? Well, we feel, because this is, of course, Christmas Eve, he came to be entangled.
According to the indigenous also, this is a time of graduation for the human race, and we're going to experience superluminal events of mind over matter, moving science more into the traditions of unity between a new science of consciousness and a deeper spirituality of understanding the deeper meaning of the archetypal language.
Right. And so if we go back to, as Dr. Hurtak was saying, with science, with quantum physics, if you're here, you're interconnected and you never really lose that connection. I think it's true for Buddha. I think it's true for other religious saints and sages. Once you're here on this planet, your connection is always here. So we can feel at any time that Christ connection is with us. And it's also important to realize that he never has to leave, really. I mean, for even incarnation, technically we believe that the higher self is always present. And like Kuan Yin, who sends out her many thousand arms to come into manifestation or to help the one who needs compassion.
There's an omnidirectional outreach, which is the definition of the Greek word ecumenical theology, reaching all humanity.
But that the energy of the Christ presence can come in while he remains in other realities, and it can come to many places while he remains. So you don't have to worry about like calling on Christ like you're gonna like bother him. Okay, that doesn't exist. And I think it's important to realize that, you know.
So Scott and all of you, a few pictures from our new book, Salvator Mundi, which means in the Latin Savior of the world, as it was known by Leonardo da Vinci. That fabulous picture that was just found a few years back. This shows the cosmic Christ with the angelic presence of the divine spirit simplified and symbolized by the dove in all directions, the face of eternity looking down into the human dimension.
We put the shroud in there. So
the entanglement of sacred geometry, of sacred color, the whole spectrum of life, and also the unity of the human race with the cosmic family. This is the story behind the story, God's love sending Christ into the world to represent our future putting on garments of divinity in the process of going from the third dimension into the higher dimensions.
So I also want to mention that the dove here also is the power of the Holy Spirit. And I think it's important to realize the side of the Trinity that's usually overlooked. And we consider it the she force, you know, the Shekinah, that it's a positive energy that's actually creative, is part of the Divine Mother presence as well. So that presence is really what is connecting all of us to the Christ power, that Shekinah or that Holy Spirit presence.
Also,
hold on, we still have plenty of time, but there's a couple of quick things I want to mention and I want to ask you. First off, just when you were talking about how connected we are, recently when I had Deepak Chopra on the show, he pointed out that if the average person lives to be about 90 years old, we will share approximately 10,000 molecules with every other being that has ever lived. Which is just kind of a fascinating, another way of looking at the interconnectedness of things. And given that and this is something that we didn't know we were going to talk about, but I'm just curious if the two of you are familiar with this photograph. Have you seen this photograph before?
I've seen it.
Yes, we have. Yeah, it's hard to confirm one way or the other, you know, but we do feel the shroud face of Jesus is probably the most accurate. I think we had a kind of an image that showed both aspects of it. Anyway, yes, but you know, this, I know people feel that is the Christ and it was some sort of image captured and then remade in current times.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a show about it way back. And I think it's fascinating. Of course, we never know what the truth is, but it is interesting how this image does look very similar to the image from the Shroud of Turin.
If we can go back to our camera.
Yeah, so this, some of the people have seen this. So
wow. Yeah. Here, let me put a full spotlight on you.
Okay.
In my mystical experience, this was the Christ that I saw, the shroud. This is the face of Yeshua that I saw from the higher dimension. This changed my life to go from a world of scientific investigation to working with the ancient manuscripts. And again, our new book covers all of the biblical languages, but also many of the manuscripts that speak of the other metaphors of Christ representing the higher family, the cosmic family, as well as the human family as way shower. So this is why the early Christians call themselves members of the way, the Derek, the way to the heavens, that emphasize unconditional love, emphasize compassion for all people, emphasize respect for the female as well as the minority person, the Samaritan woman, emphasize ultimately the putting on of the garments of glory. And I believe that we're at a time of passage right now where we must take seriously those of the warrior spirit on one side and those who are the peacemakers called upon in the Beatitudes, that we have a role to play in asking for divine intervention and realizing we cannot simply follow the old apparatus of the military / male mindset without the compassion of the Christ story.
Right. And we also, we worked with Andrea Perhark and others years ago to do prayers for peace. We believe that really works on the planet. So I just want to go back a little bit, if we can, to our new book. And every page of the book, actually, all 76, has a picture in it. So it's kind of, and we use it spiral bound. So it's
of the different degrees of glory, the different levels of social and psychological gifts that we can share every day with a happy handshake, a happy smile, a serious understanding that we are all unified as a humanity in transition.
So this is the day spring from on high, but what it really shows is our own power of transformation and how we can move out of the dark night of the soul. And I think that's what many people have been facing the last few years, but we really need to rise up. We need to transform ourselves. We need to empower ourselves with the power of the greater dimensions within us to take on really to be a positive life force in the world. That's why we're here. We're here to transform the energy that's imperfect, as Matthew was saying, on this planet into something that can be more perfect. And we can't do everything, but we can put the energy out. And if there's a lot of us starting to do this, we can literally change the planet.
Our next cosmogram or cosmic picture is that of the Logos, which is the Greek word for the word that was there at the beginning, the spoken word, Rashith bara Elohim. It's also in John's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 1, the light that came down from above and manifested divine glory, not simply the light of the sun or reflective light of the moon, but the superluminal light of the eternal Godhead, the source of the Elohim itself.
So in a few moments, we're also going to start a meditation, and we use mantras because in the beginning was the word. So we're also vibrations. All life is vibration. And when we radiate that energy, to me, it's like a cosmic telephone line. You start communicating with higher forces of light. You start becoming these pillars of energy, these pillars of light.
And this is the essence also in mystical Judaism of the Kabbalistic understanding of the tree of life that manifests itself in human form as we begin to, shall we say, go through this inner synergy, this inner symphony of sound of divine teaching, but also the celebration of why we are incarnate beings, to serve humanity, to raise consciousness, and ultimately to have the consciousness open to the divine spark, connecting with the eternal mind.
So just
there's people asking about the name of the book, so I just want to do a little promotion.
Salvator Mundi is Latin for Savior of the World, a term used by Leonardo da Vinci. This was a book in process for many years when we were in the Middle East, working in the Holy Land in Egypt and other countries. And we felt this was very appropriate. Our Mexican artist, Armando Nava, who painted pictures of Mexican presidents, was nice enough to do this of the Christ in the heavens, walking upon the clouds. Whether you can take this as a type of new scientific interpretation of Christ, who was transcendental and cosmic, or simply the recognition that we will see more and more of these light beings from other dimensions, is up to your interpretation of God's holy word.
So this is the under Mashiach. We say Mashiach, Mashishi, which is like the Messiah,
In the Aramaic language.
But we believe that actually it's not just Christ that will return, it's the collective Messiahship. And so it has those who are positive extraterrestrial intelligences, positive what we call ultra-terrestrial intelligences.
This involves experience and dedication. This is why it's so important. Every day we should pray and meditate and vocalize while we have these lips to proclaim, as we are told in Psalm 51, to exalt the Father, to exalt creation, to exalt the unity of the human race at this time of gathering.
But see, really the collective energies coming back to this planet. We believe that the vortex now is being opened, that more and more energies will come forth. Yes, there's a struggle going on. We think the struggle is not only just going on this planet, but it's actually going on in the higher and local, I should say in the local heavens, because really, if the energies of Christ consciousness come back, it'll transform everything. And there's those that don't want to see that, but that's part of our work. Let's start with the mantra, simply Mashiach, Mashishi. Dr. Hurtak's going to lead us in this.
3 times again for the recognition of the tree of life, or the 7 chakra levels, expanded now into a higher level. Mashiach, Mashishi. 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 And translated as the Messiah of the Messiahs. So this is a recognition of Christ as the Messiah that is to gather all of that prophecy, all of the writing, even the poetry that speaks to the forerunner, but more than that, that speaks now to the Messiah who has come, who unifies the world from all directions.
So now we're going to ask our friend Janet Ferris, who's here, to come behind Dr. Hurtak to play some flute as we go on in a meditation. And let's see if I can do that. Janet, just stay there. Thank you. Okay. And we're going to show a few pictures as we do this, but let's close your eyes if you wish and be part of the cosmic connection to the heavenly realms as we hear the flute. And let us feel the vibrations leading us and guiding us to align our physical bodies with our overself light bodies.
We see ourselves being guided by a dove over our head, the Hebrew word Yonah. The dove, or in Spanish, La Paloma, guides us over the turbulent waters of the world. And we see the importance of the Christmas story is why we have also incarnated with the spark of the Christ consciousness to join humanity that seeks the light of the divine, Yod-He Vod-He, the Hashem, behind creation itself.
And so soma is the Greek word for body. And if we put that together with the word or the name of Christ, we have Soma Christos or Soma Christou.
Which is the possessive.
So the vibrations of seeing ourselves now putting on that body of light. I'm going to show some pictures once again. Here's a very amazing picture you'll find in some Catholic monasteries because the eyes follow you around.
The eyes can be open or shut depending upon your level of experience. We go from the suffering Christ into the triumphant Christ. As we go from our physical body of 3-dimensionality into our body of omnidirectionality, of recognizing that the consciousness that we call our soul, our nefesh, becomes now the neshama, the soul and spirit, inspired to encircle the earth and to bring joy and Ruth, bring happiness to areas of suffering, such as we see in East Europe. The dove takes us over the waters of the Atlantic to East Europe. The dove takes us over the waters to those nations known as China and Taiwan in the Pacific. The dove takes us over the lands of South America where great changes are taking place, in Colombia, in Bolivia, in Ecuador. And we pray for peace, the higher peace of the cosmic Christ. And as we pray for this peace, we suddenly see the body of the cross transformed into the majesty and through the kingship of the crown of light, the Catholic or the crown of glory that is put on.
But see ourselves also with these bodies of divine light, the Soma Christou, as we say 7 times.
Soma Christou, Soma Christou, Soma Christou, Soma Christu, Soma Christu, Soma Christu, Soma Christu. But now the eighth is the synthesis. The eighth time, Soma Christu is where we find this great breath, this great light. As we recognize in the beginning was not the Big Bang, but the big breath, the breath of God, the Ruach that we rediscover within ourselves, where our body becomes a tabernacle of the Holy Spirit. And we realize that we work across all borders, across all nations, across all languages, with the language of the Holy Spirit, or what the mystics call the Ruach. We ask blessing upon those who suffer this Christmas time without food or water. We ask that they be given the blessings of the risen Christ consciousness.
And so let us feel that energy merging with us. And what happens? Our heart chakra begins to open with divine love. Even the fifth chakra, the voice, begins to open with divine singing.
The spiritual vision of our forehead, recognized in the Eastern traditions, the third eye begins to see the multidimensionality of life, what is called the entanglement with the physical and the paraphysical, the light and the superluminal or greater light.
And let us see, as Christ was teaching us, that there was no separation, to love one another as we would have love given to us. We love not only everyone on this planet, no matter how different they are, but we love also those in the heavens.
We see the cosmic Christ in the heavens, and the return of the different hosts or teachers of light that share with him the greater love of the eternal creator,
And
the
so,
source of all sources. And with this, we receive the crown, the corona, Ein Sof Or. We receive the greater light of recognizing our body is a model of the Torah or the tree of life, expanded now ecumenically to all with the compassion of the great mystics and the compassion of Saint Francis and Saint Hildegard.
so in closing, let us use the expression of Salvator Mundi, this is Savior of the world, but all of us need to step forward to also be part of this call to transform the planet with peace within our hearts, not in any kind of violence, not in any kind of animosity, but with pure peace and love. And even just through prayer, every night, send that peace out to the planet. As we sing together, I'm going to ask Dr. Hurtak to sing Salvator Mundi.
Salvator Mundi. Together. Salvator Mundi. 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 We elongate our breath around Mother Earth. We ask for peace from above and peace in the heart, and the peace that passes all understanding. For beyond the earth, there is the kingdom and the glory, the power of infinite worlds and creations that we're beginning to understand as we open up, as it were, the mystical understanding of the seventh seal to become citizens of the universe.
And whether we're celebrating Hanukkah or Christmas, we wish everyone a happy holiday as we close with 4 amens for the North, East, South, and West. May it happen and may it be.
Amen. 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 And amen.
Thank you, Scott.
Peace with all of you.
Wow. I'm going to go to gallery view. Everybody, let's give them some big twinkling. I think Laura Chamberlain wrote in the chat box perfectly. She said, JJ and Desiree could speak for the entire show program, and I would maybe absorb 50% of all of this. And it's true. I definitely will need to create a longer program with just the two of you. Let's schedule that for for sometime in January, February, because you have so much to share. And it is true. It's just an extraordinary amount of wisdom and the gifts of your song, your wisdom, your knowledge. I do want to let people know where you can get much more. Their primary website is keysofenoch.org, keysofenoch, ENOCH.org. And that's where you can find all of their books and so many of the incredible things that they've created. And then this is the 76 Sacred Names of the Myriad Expressions of the Christ. I've put this link into the chat box a few times now. So this is their brand new book that they've been talking about. I am just so grateful that what a perfect way to have you on with us on Christmas Eve. Thank you for just this incredible depth. And what's the name of the flautist who we just...
Janet Fair, she's one of our friends, and she's actually on our new CD, which is also with Steve Halpert. It's just about to come out. It's a little glary here, but anyway, it's called the Sacred Ciphers of the Divine Mother, because we've actually done a book on the Divine Mother names and the Divine
And
Father
we have
names.
two outstanding Mexican musician singers with us, Paul Thomas Burns and Mary Gilbert.
And Anya Deshawn, yes. So we're singing, but other
we
people are
sing
helping us.
around the world. People sing, we believe, the sacred expressions of God and the consciousness of life and eternity.
So thank you.
The hearts will come together in unity.
So thank you for having us on, and really happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
I just went to your website and I think I found the CD. Is this the CD you were just referencing? Sacred Names, Sacred
No,
Code?
That was one of the earlier ones.
That's a great CD. We've done, that was literally 10 years ago with Steve Halpert, and we took actually all of COVID to put this out. It took a lot because, studios weren't open that much and everything like that. It's not in there yet. Actually, we'll be in probably in about a week or so. Sorry.
Thank you for all that you provide. Everybody go to keysofenoch.org and let's support this amazing couple. I'll email you. Let's figure out a time where we can have you come on for a full, just to do so much wisdom. And if you get a chance, stick around because we have some amazing scholars. I don't know if you know Elizabeth Kelley, Heather Salmon, Christy Michaels, Donny Regal, but we're going to hear all about the Mary Magdalene side of things. So looking forward to the second half of our show, and of course, honoring Celestine Star. Okay, that was a big meal that we just had, and I can think of no better way to digest it than bringing back Johanna Beekman, and let's listen to her beautiful music and digest all that we just had and a chance to receive from JJ and Desiree. So, Johanna, wow.
Yeah, that was a lot. Amazing. Whoop. There I am. Yeah, that was beautiful. I really think this song is going to be a nice cap on what they were saying, because they kind of came back around to peace. And this is a song that is in Sanskrit, which is a sacred language that yoga poses are generally spoken in. And I chant in that language. It's called the Bhakti Yoga Path. It's the yoga of devotion, and that's been my path for a while. However, I collaborated with a DJ on this track, so get ready to dance. We're going to have some fun in the peaceful style. So, whatever your devotion is, if you want to clap along, there's some beats happening. I'll be singing Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi, which is peace, peace, peace. May we have peace in our hearts, peace in this world, peace, may the whole world know. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Shanti, Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti. Bring that energy back, whoever you were bringing in those prayers. If we want to send our peaceful thoughts, our peaceful vibrations their way, our beloveds that are still here and everywhere. Om Shanti, Shanti. Om. Sorry, guys. Om Shanti. Don't know what's happening with my track. Shanti. Om. Woo. I think I can fix it here. Sound okay?
Well, it's a little crackly. It's a little
Yeah.
crackly.
All right. Okay, why don't you play your announcements, and I'm going to come back with the second half of that interlude. How does that sound, Scott? Is that the direction you were going?
Absolutely. We can always be spontaneous about these things.
Awesome. Technical difficulties will be completed by the time your announcements are complete. Thank you.
Oh, well, okay. First, let's just all take a breath. I mean, so rich hearing what Matthew Fox and JJ and Desiree shared, and just honoring all the different ways of perceiving and experiencing the Christ consciousness, the story of Jesus, the story of light. Of course, we've just celebrated the solstice, winter for us in North America, but I know many are watching from the Southern Hemisphere. And just, I want to acknowledge that in the awakening world, we appreciate and honor all pathways to the divine, all pathways to awakening in this awakening world. And we are now opening up, we've opened up registration for our new season. And yes, I am committing to doing another 3 months of these shows, and we'll be doing them, as always, in 3 a week at least. One change is that we are going to shift from Friday nights to Wednesday nights. And the reason for that is twofold. One, a lot of people said, God, I don't want to have to wait, all weekend. I so love what you guys do here. So this way people don't have to wait. We will be doing a show on Wednesday night, a show on Saturday night, and the Sacred Sunday show on Sunday mornings. So that's kind of a new approach that we're taking here. And also Trish, who I love co-hosting with, she can now join us on a weekly basis, but doing it on Wednesday nights. She was not available on Friday nights. So that's one of the changes. Want to really encourage everybody to register. And I wasn't quite prepared for this. I was going to get it together where Johanna was doing her song. So I'm kind of pulling it together while I talk. A wonderful way to start the new year is next Saturday night, a week from tonight. Johanna and I will be co-hosting a very special New Year's Eve show. And I should say, actually, before I go to the New Year's Day program, we're collaborating with Sri and Kira down in Ecuador. We're collaborating with Ben Bowler, John and Sarah Raymer, and many others to create a whole New Year's extravaganza. It will start with Sri and Kira at 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern, and they're going to do about a 2-hour program from Ecuador. But Omashar and I will be there. And then we'll transition into the awakening world with Johanna and I co-hosting. So next New Year's Eve, now, of course, many of you have wonderful plans, but for those of you that want to really drop into a very sacred global peace tribe way of celebrating the new year, that's a wonderful way to do it. And then I will do a Sacred Sunday show, which will be very much a chance for us to practice invocations. And it's going to be a very community-oriented show where each of you will be able to share, if you wish, what your intentions are, what you're letting go of, and what you are embracing for the new year. And then we're going to go to a New Year's Day concert with Cornflower and Kristin Hoffmann. You know, they met through Saturday Night Alive. They've since done 4 previous concerts that we've hosted, and it's going to be a wonderful way to celebrate the new year. Now, here's the deal. For those of you who register for the new season at $75 or greater, you will get a free ticket to their New Year's Day concert. And so that's really cool. Also, for those who register at a higher level, for every $75 you pop in, I'm going to give you the opportunity to give a gift subscription to someone. And I'm really appreciating how many of you have done this. A lot of you have already come in at higher levels and sent me the names and email addresses of your friends, your sisters, your brothers, your family members, so that we can really grow our global peace tribe, grow our awakening world. So while Johanna plays, I will pop into the chat box the link for registration and kind of the details of what I just described. Johanna, are you ready? You are. She's nodding her head. Okay.
Absolutely. It was a crossed wire, literally. And in the audio world, that is not good. So we're good now.
Johanna, you're always good, but now the sound will be matching your talents.
Oh, you're always sweet, Scott. It's always great to be together. All right, back to Om Shanti Remix. This is by Equanimous. We released it on High Vibe Records last year. Shanti, Shanti, All right, you guys, let's breathe into this peaceful world that we are imagining. Breathe into the peace that we're creating within our hearts and then helping the world to awaken to. Asito ma sargamaya, tameso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma amritam gamaya. Asito ma sadgamaya, tameso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma amritam gamaya. Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Om. Peace. Om Shanti, Oh, it just came on. This is our invocation. It's coming back. Oh, well, maybe not. That was all we got for sound. Peace in our hearts, peace in our souls, peace, and may the whole world know. Peace.
It's beautiful to see all of our friends dancing and moving. Our wild abbot of the Mystic Monastery, Jerry, dancing, and of course, Reverend Jeffrey, Elizabeth Kelley, and all the people dancing and moving and grooving. And one of the things I love about Johanna is she's like myself. She's an entrepreneur and she does a lot. And so if you want to share a few of the wonderful things. First off, definitely make sure you register so that you can be aware of all that she's doing, including her Bhakti Love reunion events. Definitely hoping that the internet is strong enough there next time around so I can be there to be hosting. But definitely go to bhaktilove.com, put in your name and email address as I'm demonstrating right now, although I'm already here. And Heidi, where did that come from?
Heidi?
Where did Heidi come from?
I don't know, man.
That's a
This
trip.
should
Anyway.
work. Anyway.
Sign up to her newsletter and put these dates right now in your calendar. October 13 to 15. I know the people that were at your last one all said it was amazing. I was just with Larissa Stowe. I spent Thanksgiving with her, and she said it was incredible and fantastic. And I always line up amazing people to be at your. And so I just want to acknowledge you. Not only are you a brilliant artist, but you are a wonderful producer. Larissa said you did such a great job producing the festival. And that is not an easy thing to do. To produce a festival is a big deal. So thank you for that.
I had a really great team, really great help, and it takes a village to raise a child. It was really a blessing to see all of the people who showed up, like Larissa, you know, to make the dream magic the way that it was. So thank you. Yeah, that's in fall.
I want to promote one more thing for you, Johanna. And that's because I know several people that have found you through Global Peace Tribe have said, thank you, Scott, for turning me on to Lullaby Yoga. So tell us a little bit about this, because I think, especially winter time, it's a good time to help people to relax, to go within, to rest and rejuvenate. So please explain what Lullaby Yoga is.
Well, there's a little personal story that accompanies it that it kind of talks about up there, but I was hit by a drunk driver after becoming a yoga teacher in more power vinyasa, heated flow rooms, and teaching really kind of pretzel yoga that was teaching me that I had some other things going on in my body. Anyway, I won't go in too deep to my personal story, but the point of this was doctors said I wasn't going to practice yoga again, especially in that way. I could do that now, but I choose not to because I found the deeper practices are actually in subtle body breath work and really resetting the nervous system on a deep level. And that's through lowering our stress levels, through pranayama, meditation, through sound journeys with sound bath elements and chanting sacred chants that are said to be known in our cellular structure when we're born. So when I was singing that Asato Ma Sadgamaya, you might not be familiar with the chant, but there's a familiarity when we're singing together and we're dancing together and we're in devotion together. And our nervous systems are in training in those moments. And so this lullaby yoga experience, I basically healed myself through sound and movement, through my breath, through chanting in restorative yoga poses. And anybody can do these practices. I had shooting neurological pain, stabbing, shooting down my arms and my legs, couldn't really walk, but I could lay on a bolster and I could chant and I could breathe. And I couldn't sit up to meditate, but I found that there were other ways to reset my nervous system. And so those are the practices that I share. And I'm really honored to see people really transform through this practice, whether it's, I mean, I actually lost a lot of weight when I started doing it, which was kind of backwards because I was doing crazy yoga. And then when I let my nervous system reset and lost my stress, that's when the weight actually fell off. So that's an interesting phenomenon I've heard a few people talk about. Our cortisol levels hold that. Anyway, I could talk for days, but thank you for listening, and I look forward to connecting and sharing either in a private or in my Lullaby Yoga online series that Scott was just pointing to.
Beautiful. Thank you, Johanna, for blessing us. I know you've got a family dinner to get to, so thank you for being with us on Christmas Eve, and I will see you a week from tonight for our New Year's Eve show.
I can't wait, but I will, Scott. Bless you all. Many blessings.
Thank you, Johanna.
Namaste.
Well, believe it or not, we still have a whole big section of this show left. And we're going to bring on 4 amazing beings: Elizabeth Kelley, Donny Regal, Heather Salmon, and Christy Michaels, all of whom are ordained ministers. They're all very involved in really understanding on an esoteric level a lot of the things we talk about on the awakening world. Of course, we also all have in common that we're all very close to Celestine Star. Celestine's birthday was today, December 24th. And of course, mine's on the 25th. And she and I had many times, we had joint Christmas birthday parties. So Celestine, we are still celebrating together. And I trust and know that your spirit is with us. Our first guest that I'm going to bring on is also somebody I'm really eager to hear what she has to say about the conversation that we had with Matthew Fox and JJ and Desiree. And this is Elizabeth Kelley. And I know that many of you, especially in the Bay Area, are probably familiar with Elizabeth. But just to go a little bit more into detail for her, for those of you who don't know her, she's an ordained priestess in the Holy Order of Mary Magdalene and the priestess of Isis, which I know she shared that with Celestine. She's recognized as one of the great scholars on the planet of the Magdalene mysteries. She's also a dancer. We saw a little bit of her dancing. Thank you for that. That was fun to see you get up and dance. She's a teacher and lover of the divine feminine. She has created and offers rituals in many venues throughout Northern California, Europe, and even Egypt. And in 2005, she actually had the honor to celebrate the dynamic cosmic mass with Matthew Fox. So they have a whole history together. Elizabeth, welcome to the Awakening World. And I'm really eager to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Scott. And we're going to be talking about Celestine. So I want to say, glory in the light of the radiant one. This was a statement that Celestine very often would say when she would greet somebody or say goodbye to somebody. But in thinking into this, I also thought it could be said, glory in the light of the cosmic Christ. So I want to thank you, Scott, for, asking me to not only speak about Celestine and my long 40-year friendship with her, but also to think into the cosmic Christ. And in doing so, that I found that there are some really, profound contemporary writers and thinkers who are expressing themselves on this subject. And I was raised and educated in Catholic schools. I mean, I have to say, I think I had a good education. They gave me a good education, but never did they speak of the cosmic Christ. But after I graduated high school, moved away from my hometown, I discovered the writings of Paramahansa Yogananda. And it was initially through him in 1970 where I learned a whole other and deepened into a whole other relationship with Jesus Christ. And this yogi wrote about the resurrection of Christ consciousness that took place within Jesus. And he also offered tools for all of us to awaken into higher states of consciousness. And he was the first that I knew of to speak of the second coming of Christ was a second coming of Christ awakening in humanity within all of us. And then in looking into this, I saw that there is a Franciscan priest named Father Richard Rudd, who has written and spoken very elegantly on the cosmic Christ. So for me, having been a recovering Catholic, I was just really happy to see, that so many, well, maybe not so many, I don't know how many, but it is a movement of thought about this second coming of Christ as the awakening in all of us of the Christ consciousness. And the idea of the cosmic Christ definitely transcends Christianity and embraces all religions and spiritual paths. So within the Christos, all existence is held together like a golden web of life that flows in and out and around and through all things, holding us all together in a loving embrace. All of humanity, all of reality is held together in a seamless web of life, or as physicists speak of it, as the quantum field, that we are all living, moving, breathing in this field of this Christed energy. So Jesus, who Christians are now celebrating his birth, is the person in whom the vast Christ consciousness resided in a most profound way. Jesus is seen as a prototype for the new humanity. Jesus showed us what it was like to be a Christ, and that we all have that capacity within us. We are able to put on whether the mind, the consciousness of Christ, and then awaken to the oneness of being or becoming one with the web of all life. I mean, that's to me, very profound meditation. I mean, JJ Hurtak and Desiree, gave us such an amazing a presentation that is a lot to absorb. But if we could take pieces, I look forward to getting his book. I have his book on the Pistis Sophia and studied it deeply and took classes and, did the best I could to digest that. But, to try to really tune and intone our psyches and our understanding with this much vaster experience of Christ, to take it out of just this one man Jesus and take it into a much more expanded view, and that it is our birthright also to evolve into that state of consciousness. And the cosmic Christ is increasing in manifestation today as we participate in our own evolution of consciousness. Every step of awakening that you and I and all of us take is a step towards the second coming of Christ. To me, this is a whole new meaning, and it's wonderful to think of that. we've all have encountered born again Christians and their thought of the second coming of Christ, but to think of it as, you know, so much more, that this is all where we're evolving to. And this higher consciousness brings in a greater degree of inclusion and unity and oneness, so that the more we come together in love, the cosmic Christ comes into consciousness in our whole world. So the cosmic Christ is both personal and transpersonal. It is Jesus and it is beyond Jesus. It's material and spiritual, human and divine. It is all inclusive of divinity, humanity, and material reality. It is far beyond us, but also intimate and inside of us. And as the light now increases on our earth, it is a perfect time of year to celebrate and contemplate the cosmic Christ. So I want to say, glory in the light of the radiant one, glory in the light of the cosmic Christ. And I know my dear friend, Heather Solomon, is going to lead us also into an understanding. She had done a great deed. She received a definite inspiration to purchase a star for our friend Celestine. And she's going to tell us all about it.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's so beautiful.
Aloha and welcome, everybody.
Yeah, Logan, welcome. It's Heather and Donny here, beaming in. We're in Mexico at the moment, so hopefully our connection is good, but we reside in Maui, Hawaii, and we have Black Swan Temple. And Celestine was a dear priestess sister of ours. She and I were both ordained into the Temple of Isis as priestesses on 10-10-10, October 10th, 2010, and that was a big deal because Isis is known as She of 10,000 Names, and there was a big pageant, and she and I had so many kind of like a parallel. She was like my big sister. I had moved to Northern California and to Harbin's Hot Springs, and she had lived there, and I had the Temple of Light, and she had the Temple of Light. And when we both met at the Temple of Isis, we both took on Nut, or Nuit, who is the goddess or the nectar of the night sky. And so both of us had our ministry very much devoted to mine more astrology and her more direct connection with our star kin. So when she passed on this past July 4th, I had received several strong direct messages. I was actually in Reno and I was driving. And every time I got in the car, the radio said, "Star registry. Is there someone you need to register for a star?" I've been like, never hear this in where I live. So I'm like, okay, Celestine, we got the memo. So Donny and I purchased this star, dedicated, and tonight is her official dedication of the star tonight, being Celestine's birthday, and it's so appropriate. This is also, we're in the sacred days of solstices. Scott and others were talking about, and there are 7 sacred days of solstice, the 3 days before the day of solstice and 3 days after. And solstice means standing still. So these are like the dark days of solstice. And then tomorrow, Christmas, is the return. It's when because the sun is on an elliptic, we're at the end of the elliptic. So it appears to be standing still as we go around the elliptic. And then tomorrow starts moving forward when we move towards the equinox, right? In March, and when the days and night are equal. So that's why it's the return to more Christmas is the return of the light.
Return from the darkness.
Return from the darkness. So the day she passed was a really phenomenal day. I mean, there was an amazing conjunction between our sun and the star Sirius. And right behind us here, you will see these, if you look up at these three, hopefully you can see these three stars. Everyone usually knows the Orion's belt, those three stars. And if you go down here, this is Sirius, which is really high up in the night sky during the winter. So starting soon. And then, so this is the constellation of, whoa, sorry, I don't know where I'm pointing, of Canis Major. And if you go down here, so, and this is her star right there. And this is like the tail of the dog, Canis Major. Canis is the dog star. So there was a powerful conjunction and rare the day she passed between our sun and Sirius, which is considered to be our spiritual sun. It's also known as the Isis star, and the star from which Jesus, the cosmic Christ, Buddha, Mary, many high spiritual beings are believed to have emerged from, come from. So how amazing we're talking about this cosmic Christ tonight, and how, yes, we are all connected, and we can all open ourselves to receive that divine light, to receive that Christed energy. And Celestine wrote this amazing book. This is her legacy. Whoa, sorry. I think I have to do it this way. Called the Galactic Earth Council. And she believed herself to be an ambassador of the Galactic Earth Council. And it was her mission to help people realize that we can connect with our star kin, and that we are Earth kin, all of us. And that by connecting with our star kin, so whether you feel like you're connected to Sirius, or you're connected to the Pleiades, or Andromeda, or wherever, there's wisdom to be had through our connections. And that we need to open our crown chakra, as we did tonight, and we can receive the guidance, receive transmissions, receive attunement. And in receiving our attunements, we become integrated spiritual beings, and we can activate our higher level skills. We awaken to our divine presence, to the cosmic Christ, to the galactic cosmic consciousness, and to our gifts. And in that way, as we are awakening, we are raising our frequency, and we are helping to harmonize the planet, ourselves and each other, and the earth itself. So the other point I want to make about the Sirius was the day of Celestine's memorial, which was August 7th. It's another important day for those who follow Sirius, because in the Egyptian tradition, ancient Egypt, you've probably heard of the Lion's Gate, 888. Well, that is related to when Sirius, the heliacal rising of Sirius. So you might know, like, sometimes you can see Venus and sometimes you can't in the night sky. Sometimes it's called the evening star, sometimes it's called the morning star. Sirius has the same sort of cycle. So Sirius rises above the horizon and is once again visible sometime in that Lion's Gate period. Lion's Gate is really not just one day. It goes from around July 26th to around August 12th. But 8/8 is a powerful day. But this time, on 8/7, that was the morning that astronomers in ancient Egypt, in Cairo, who were on the Giza Plateau, first saw Sirius. So that was her birthday, and what a blessing. And that day is, the Egyptians consider that New Year's, because with the rising of Sirius would come the great inundation, which means the Nile would rise, the rains would come, and it would flood. And then the flooding of the Nile would make all the lands around it very,
Very fertile.
very fertile, and it was a great time of celebration. So here we end. One more little thing I wanted to point out was the alignment with Sirius and Orion's belt and the Great Pyramids. I don't know if I can share my screen, if I'm going to do this right, Scott. I'm going to try. Love to show you this. Oh, I could do this. Okay, great. All right. Lots of stuff on my screen. Okay, you guys can see this?
Yes,
Okay.
this we can.
Fantastic. So this image, what does it show? Here we have Orion's belt, those 3 stars. We have the Great Pyramid of Giza. We have the King's Chamber up here. We have Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. And then we have Sirius, which emanates directly into the Queen's Chamber. So this is the Great Pyramid. So they believe that the pyramid is, and this alignment was believed to, because the precession of the equinoxes and everything, really about 2,500 years ago, this alignment would happen, and then, you know, the Great Pyramid was not a tomb. It was something else, and some great alchemy was happening here. So this is another interesting point about our beautiful star Sirius, how it played into, you know, the mysteries and the alchemy that the Great Pyramids hold for our planet.
And how Celestine really planned, had such a cosmic view of her being here, what she was offering, and how she exited as well.
Mm-hmm. And we had the great honor of, we were just on pilgrimage in Egypt over the autumn equinox, over the September equinox, and we took some of Celestine's ashes, and we had a private ceremony in the King's Chamber at the night of the equinox, and then we placed some of her ashes
Right at the pause.
between the right at the breast, heart of the Sphinx.
Wow.
So our beautiful sisters there emanating. I love the Sphinx. It's a body of a lion, head of an empress, and open-hearted, leading, like radiating, leading with the heart. Blessings all the way through. And Celestine so loved to share her blessings.
Wow.
So, yes, Scott?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. So with that, we want to take a moment here as part of our dedication to share with you how Celestine would share with you how to attune and tune in and to receive transmissions from her star tonight. So if you would, I think we're going to be accompanied by a little bit of music here. Omashar, say, oh, there you are. Beautiful, thank you. So I invite you to just take a moment and find a comfortable way to sit, or if you feel like moving through this, you can. If you feel to lower your eyes, lower your eyes. And turn your awareness within. Bring your awareness to your body. Just noticing your breath as it goes in. And deepening your breath and into the area of your heart. And into the area of your belly. A picture of Celestine up and a beautiful star candle. And all the way down to your root chakra at the base of your spine. space between the anus and the genitals. Bring your awareness all the way down to the center of the earth, tuning into inner earth, the heart of heaven. Bring your awareness back to your root chakra, and let's take a moment to ground ourselves, sending a grounding cord all the way down to the center of the earth. Look like anything, a rope, a tube, a root, whatever your grounding cord is looking like, it's just perfect. Just make sure it's really well connected at your root chakra. Now we are going to tune into Sirius's constellation, Canis Major. And if you have a prayer or wish or something you would like to, guidance you'd like to receive, or any way you want to be supported at this time, just send a little attention. And now we go all the way to the tail of dawn, to the star Alundra, and to Celestine Star. And we ask you, beautiful, beloved sister Starkin, who is now ascended your body and has taken your place amongst the stars. We know that you are there. We know that you are still guiding and supporting us in other ways. We give thanks for your love. We give thanks for your wisdom. We open ourselves now to receive your transmissions in the sacred holy day, your heavenly birth. Heavenly birthday, we celebrate your lives. I invite you to just take a moment here, listening to the music, feeling the transmission. You might get a sense of color or sensation, or hear some words. Another couple of breaths. Noticing any sensations in your body, any sounds, anything you may have received. Celestine says, don't worry about trying to translate what you've received in this moment. Allow it to unfold. She says, notice where the unified frequencies come into your being, your body. Notice the intensity, any sound levels, temperatures, energetics. All transmissions cause an upliftment in your physical and energy bodies. The radiant one is guiding this work with your Galactic Earth Council members. And with that, we thank you, Celestine, for this transmission and for your love. We allow that to come to a close for now. And as you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes and maybe take a little stretch. From her book, she says, the great work begins now. The work is for us to further reestablish our Star King connections, the third and fifth dimensional presence of each of our Star Kin, the DNA RNA activations to reawaken your galactic consciousness, receiving full memory recall of your star self, return of the star powers limited or blocked at the moment of original separation. Glory in the light of the radiant ones.
Wow, thank you so much, Donny and Heather. It's always beautiful to see you coming to us from Mexico. And thank you for your dedication of the star and just all the wonderful ways that you're honoring our beloved soul sister. I think what I want to do is I will share with people how you can learn more about Elizabeth and Donny and Heather and Christy after we kind of conclude this whole sequence. I recognize we're running a little bit later than we had planned. I'm going to have Omashar do a musical number, which she was originally going to do much earlier, but JJ and Desiree also went a little bit longer than planned. And then we're going to come back and hear from LaSandra, Celestine's daughter, and also from Christy Michaels, one of her beloved friends. So, but for right now, I just would love for us to kind of, so again, a lot to digest. And so I'm going to turn it over to beloved brother Omashar for a musical number.
Wow, thank you so much. I am full, and even though this is a very deep song, it's called Beloved, you can move to it, and I think a bit of integration is good in the moving body. And this came at a time, it's off my album Shine On, and I was really frustrated at the time because I was having all these light, Christ-conscious, source of all creations stirrings in my being, and I tried to talk with people about it, and no one understood what I was saying, so I kind of felt a little miffed that I wasn't able to share it with anyone. So I wrote a song instead. Hey, what a concept, and here it is.
I was remembering a time far away from here, when I saw you in my mind, and no one that I talked to could hear. I'd say we're more than we think, we're more than we feel, we're more than we know. Hear me. I feel your heartbeat in the land, your breath upon the wind, and you touch me in those places that I fear. I hear you running through my veins, laughing as you go. You fill me with your life, you fill me with your love, you lift me up to see your face. Beloved, deep inside, beloved, I can no more hide from your might, from your sight, though I might wait a while and cry for all those yesterdays that passed away like the clouds that made me what I am beloved, deep inside, beloved, I can no more hide.
Ooh. Oh, Omashar, that was perfect. Beautiful, beautiful song.
No hiding anymore, brother and sisters. Here we are.
Oh, thank you so much. That was
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Celestine. I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
Well,
Mystic.
to continue in our kind of understanding of Celestine and her impact, we're going to hear from her daughter in a moment. But before that, we're going to hear from Christy Michaels. And of course, Christy, she's a big part of Global Peace Tribe, very involved in helping us to honor Mary Magdalene every year. And she puts on 3 or 4 events every year that we always support and participate in. She is really devoted to spreading the gospel of Mary Magdalene, especially as it's mirrored in Course in Miracles. So, Christy, I know you've put together something very special to share tonight.
Yes, thank you, Scott. And I'm so excited to show. I worked in a high priestess ceremonies with Celestine. That was her favorite thing in the world to do for over 10 years, about 12 years together in many, many ceremonies. So I've put together a slideshow of some of the highlights that are so stunning. They'll just open your heart to the beauty of the divine feminine. But before I put the slideshow on really quickly, I do have to comment about the cosmic Christ because, you know, I've been a devotee, a very deep and spiritual person, and I love this expression of the Christ in a non-dogmatic way, this expression of the cosmic Christ that includes everyone, equalizes men and women, that brings everybody to their heart. And so when I was teaching the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, I came to this section where it says, even in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene is talking about, for those who seek him and find him, you will know the kingdom of God. And I was like, seek him and find him. What about her? You know, and I'm like, I like, okay, if I have to accept that it's him and that we really have to surrender to him, then I will. But just in the off chance, Jesus, I'm praying in my morning meditation, if there's any possibility or any chance that there's another way to see this, or you can help me with this resistance that I have to surrendering to this man, Jesus, and seeking him and finding him and all that stuff. And so I released my question and I sat in my meditation and I just dropped in, and all of a sudden I reached this very profound, very deep, very sweet spot. And I was so enjoying it. I completely forgot that I'd asked a question earlier. And all of a sudden I hear this voice and it says, because I was about to teach a class the next day, right, to my Divine Feminine group. And I hear this voice and it says, you tell them it's actually H period, I period, M period. And I went, what? H period, I period, M period, what is that? H is for heaven, I is for in, and M is for me. The cosmic Christ consciousness is heaven in me. Right here. That's why we have to go with it. Anyway, I was just like, wow, that was so great. So let me take you on the journey of Christ consciousness with our beautiful sister, Celestine Star, who was by my side through the last 12 years until really the day before she passed. And we did a ceremony that she and I were planning. We met 2 weeks before she died, and we completed it, which was the feast day of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, which we held outdoor at Stafford Lake. So Celestine loved dressing up as the divine, and in her incredible efforts, she was always in the middle of any ceremonies that we did. We have hundreds of people that would come out, and by the end of it, we would be all so joyous and happy because we were all honoring that divine spark within and activating and touching that beautiful spark within ourselves. And so for 12 years, I got to enjoy deep, profound, and she was always dressed to the nines. She loved blessing you. That was one of her favorite things to do. She loved saying prayers, and she often is found on my webinars saying prayers, but mostly she loved the divine. She loved being the divine expression of the Divine Mother, the Black Madonna. And so I could always count on her to be incredible. So the very first ceremony that she and I were involved in came from a vision I had. We were both ordained on 10-10-10 by Elizabeth Kelley. And I received a vision that it was time for me to honor the consciousness of Mother Mary for conceiving light and birthing a God. And in the middle of this picture, you'll see Margaret Rigliosa. She's the author that just produced a PhD body scholarly work on the virgin birth phenomena as a real thing, as a real practice, and substantiating it. And you can see Elizabeth is there, Donny, and Heather's there too. I don't know where you are, but you were there at that event. We were all there together and celebrating this honoring. So when we did the ceremony, Celestine, you can see, she's ablazed in all her glory. She just let go, released, and just came on with the full Monty of activation. Marguerite is holding a little chalice cup full of wine that was placed underneath the altar. And it was an offering that we were making to the goddess Strife, because when we did our rehearsal, some of the women got into a bit of a cat fight of being bossy and not being irritated with each other. And they turned to me and they say, Christy, you got to fix this. And I'm like, what? I don't want to have to fix this. But what I did do was I meditated. I went within and I asked the question, what is this? Why is this happening? And what is there for me to know? And what came up was my cold mother. And I remember going to therapy with a letter my mother had written to me, and I handed it to the therapist and I said, is this a cold letter? And she said, oh yes, Christy, this is a very cold letter. Because, a fish in water, I loved my mother, and I didn't know what a warm mother was. So I didn't have an understanding. But anyway, we were all healing our cold mothers at this ceremony in order to honor the consciousness of Mother Mary, this high consciousness that was able to, in a purified way, bring in light. And so we did this ritual with the goddess to honor the goddess Strife. When you appease the goddess Strife, then all is well, right? So anyway, at the altar was all these daffodil bulbs. And so everybody got a gift of the daffodil bulbs. And afterwards I was going, oh my God, we have to do a ceremony when the daffodil bulbs bloom. But how do you figure out when a daffodil bulb blooms? It has to do with the amount of light and water and what kind of soil and when you planted it. It could be 6 to 8 weeks. You don't know when it's going to bloom, right? So anyway, the next ceremony that we were doing, magically that day, Jan Saccone called the ceremony, which was, and Kristin, you'll love this one. It was the release of the voice of the divine feminine, to heal and release our voice so that we may be heard. Because one thing about the released voice of the divine feminine, the mother and the divine feminine, there are no starving children. We speak up. We speak up when we see injustice. We speak up with all these things. And so as I'm running out the door to go to the ceremony to participate with Celestine, what should be there in my garden was the bloomed daffodils from that altar. So we had all these wonderful things, and she always honored the Black Madonna. She always led our processions, and that's another story for another day, how the Black Madonna came into my life. Very magical, mystical story. But she would set up the Black Madonna altars, and she also loved sacred geometry of the divine feminine. And of course, she was loved and missed by so many of us that we have a solid core, about 42 priestesses and priests, and we do ceremony every year on the eve of Mary Magdalene's feast day, which will be back at Unity Church, first time live this year. Anyway, I got a call to participate and lead a ceremony on the Washington Mall for the Thousand Goddess gathering in Washington, D.C. And I told Celestine, and she said, oh, I'll come with you. And she came and supported me. What I didn't know was that the Washington Mall is in alignment with the obelisk, which is like sitting right in the middle of the Vesica Pisces, right? Which the center piece of the Vesica Pisces translates into the Magdalene, according to sacred geometry. And there we were in the womb part with Celestine with me doing sacred ceremony, always again holding that high watch. And she loved to travel and shared her travels going through Europe. She loved sharing ceremony with all of us. She loved the anointings we would do. She would, this is when you enter the tomb that we created, and everybody got their hearts anointed. So it was just like this is Kelley Osbo, is one of the leading national scholars on Mary Magdalene. She also got her PhD on Magdalene, and go to her website, kelleyosbo.com. She is like to die for in her deep understanding about raising the awareness of the Magdalene. And anyway, Celestine, she knew how to hold presence. She was just always so willing, and it was her favorite thing to do, was to look like a priestess, hold herself divine, and stand in that sacred holy way. She loved to dance. And we always had dance at every ritual. We always do dance. And she was on, this is the elaborate dance we did to the Lord's Prayer. And so that was really good. The YouTube is on my channel, Magdalene Impact YouTube channel. And then, of course, as you've heard, she has these incredible stories about her connection to the Galactic Federation and being on the council. And she took this picture herself about the what she says, when these kind of unusual cloud formations, it allows the ships to hide in the clouds so that they could come in closer to us. And so on the day that she died, which was July 4th, or she died around 4 o'clock, just shortly thereafter, my friend Andrea was taking a walk, and she started to notice these strange clouds forming just as she had heard that Celestine had passed. And sure enough, here they come. The Galactic Federation clouds forming in the sky, coming towards where we were. This is actually very near where we did the feast day ceremony. Those hills has got Stafford Lake in it, where we did the last ceremony with her in spirit. But she loved the sky watching, and she was always taking people up to the tops of mountains to be able to call in the ships and then show people the ships are here, they're with us, and here's how you connect. And so it was a glorious time for everybody. And then, of course, the day they told me on the 4th of July that she could pass today or maybe tomorrow, I said, no. She was born on Christmas Eve. She's going to die on the 4th of July because she's going to go out with a bang, and she's got to get out of her body, get up into the sky so she can watch all the fireworks as she goes. So I knew she was going to pass before nightfall. And sure enough. So anyway, thank you, our beloved Celestine. We love you so much, and thank you for being in our lives, in our hearts. So blessed be, Scott. And thank you for letting us take a little time to make a tribute to her. We're really so happy and blessed that you were able to do that for us.
Thank you, Christy. That's a beautiful tribute. Thank you so much. Andrea sent me the photo also, and this is just again for people to have a little bit stronger picture. Here is the photo taken right at the same time that Celestine was leaving her body. And it is really quite amazing. It's those clouds that are associated with our Galactic Federation, which of course Celestine was a part of. Well, kind of to conclude our honoring of Celestine, I'm so grateful that her daughter is with us. And getting to know LaSandra has been quite a joy. And so, LaSandra, welcome to the Awakening World. Thank you for being with us. And I would just love to turn it over to you for anything you'd like to share about your mom.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much, you marvelous souls and life force and essence that have volunteered to step up and hold this sacred space. Scott and Heather and Donny and Christy Michaels for investing the time and energy to carry her light forward. She so wanted to inspire each of us to do better and to look to evolve. And she laid it at our feet. And I think this was something I just go away with for the rest of my life. Just very sit in gratitude that she was my mother, that I have a mother that is conscious and forever striving to be more conscious. That means caring for others, caring for yourself, caring for the future, caring for the possibilities of this earth, of the beyond the earth. She just really wanted everyone to kind of elevate just day by day, continue to elevate. And I carry that with me. So to have your participants, guests, members, those that share the common values. It just is such a wonderful, wonderful place. So today is her birthday. I ended up going to her storage and touched so many little letters, her writings, and it was just a marvelous experience to once again kind of be around her things. I know that she's gone on to create this, continue her work, and I'm very excited. I drove home across the San Rafael Bridge and I caught myself kind of the tidal waves of emotion and grief. It's like the ocean, it hits you. And then you kind of break down and then you pull yourself up. And I caught myself and I said, she is in it's not a better place. She is in the new place. She's right where she needs to be. We all have to go. This vessel doesn't last that long, 80 years. She's right where she needs to be. And I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she did the work and I got to have a front row seat. So I'm so grateful. Thank you for inviting me to be a part, and I'll continue to look up in the sky, particularly in February when the star that Heather and Donny so graciously anointed for her are in the southern horizon. And this would be a magical gift, even just beyond words of what she would have loved. So thank you so much, Donny and Heather. This is like, her, it's sustained. It's written in the stars, literally. Right. And you taking us through the journey of like how to find her from the Orion's belt. It's just a gift. And I just feel really fortunate. And she's a marvelous woman, very, very marvelous. And I don't think that changed when she transcended. And thank you.
Oh, beautiful. I'm going to bring back kind of all the people that are part of this celebration. And now that you've all heard about Celestine, exactly 1 year ago, she was my sole guest on the Sacred Sunday show on December 26th, 2021. And it's really kind of interesting because if you go back and you watch this video, she tells her whole story. And it, of course, neither of us knew that she would be leaving her body soon, but here it is, Celestine's entire story. And it's really quite beautiful. And then Raphael, I was in Maui when I recorded it, and Raphael played music alongside. So definitely, I've put into the chat box. For those of you watching on Facebook, you can go to our YouTube channel and find it. Just put Celestine Star in. We have several different Celestine Star videos on our YouTube channel, including the memorial that we did in August, and also earlier appearances when she was on some of our Galactic Family shows. So she's been a very, very big part of the Awakening World and Global Peace Tribe. And I want to just let everybody know some of the ways you can learn more about some of our friends that have been with us. Donny and Heather run the Black Swan Temple, and that's in Maui. But they do amazing, as you heard them talk about, they do these pilgrimages. So if you are going to Maui, or if you want a really beautiful retreat, go to their beautiful location in Maui. Again, if you go to blackswantemple.org, that's their website, and you'll get everything from their music and they also, like Johanna, are entrepreneurs doing a lot of amazing things, making movies. But the two things I really want to emphasize tonight are their in-person retreats at their home in Maui. It's on the jungle side of the island. I've been there many times. It's beautiful. Or go to Egypt with them. And I tell you, I'm tempted to go in October. So they lead these beautiful pilgrimages to Egypt and Maui. Anything you want to share about your retreats or your pilgrimages?
Sure. Thanks, Scott. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So we do ongoing retreats in Maui, and we do yoga and sound healing and wellness retreats. We do 6-day retreats, kind of 1 or 2 a month, actually. So they're small group retreats. They're really intimate and really personal. And we live in the beautiful, lush, tropical side of Maui, surrounded by waterfalls. It's the most amazing place to connect with nature and reconnect with yourself. People come to us to do a lot of healing and resetting, rejuvenating. And then our Egypt pilgrimage is something we do once a year or so, and and it's small as well. We only take about 12 people, and we charter a beautiful dahabaya, which is a private boat that we take on the Nile, and it's 15 days and a small group. We take a maximum of 12 people, and again, we'll be doing private ceremony. We're going over, it's an eclipse portal in October. So for the total solar eclipse, we're going to be in the King's Chamber, and then we're going to be between the paws of the Sphinx, and then we fly down to Luxor and board a boat, which will be on this boat, which is really beautiful because we get to do sound healing and yoga and integration time for another like 10 days. So you visit our website for all of that, and let us know if you have any questions.
I was going to say, we've done this 4 times. This will be our 4th trip. And each time we change it and rearrange it, and also slowed it down, so you're not just constantly running around, because we're there to experience the sacred and not run ourselves ragged. And it's, every time it's slower and slower, and it still always seems too fast. So we've extended 2 days on the boat just because it's such a precious gift to be on the boat and be in the Nile and be in your cozy place. We do yoga and sound healing at night, and then we take excursions out to the temples. It's truly magical. One of the greatest things I've ever done in my life.
Wow. Well, it sounds wonderful. And I'll be seeing you and talking to you many times, both privately and through the Awakening World between now and then. Thank you so much again for your dedication to the star and all that you do to help create our beautiful Awakening World. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, so much for having us again. We love you. Merry birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Elizabeth Kelley, she and I'm going to kind of bring her and Christy up together because they certainly are sisters doing a lot of wonderful work together. You can find out more about Elizabeth by going to her website, which is mmagdalene, spelled mmagdalen.org. Learn more about the wonderful work that she's doing. And Christy's main site, we're going to talk about a big event that I'm doing with Christy shortly, but Christy's main site is right here. It's the gospelofmarymagdalene.info, and always beautiful events. And very important, go and make sure you join the mailing list so that you know what Christy and Elizabeth are up to. They always do the Feast of Magdalene and other very special events over the course of the year. And finally, want to invite everybody to put in their calendars that on Friday, January the 6th, obviously when we hear the words January 6th, that brings to mind a lot. Well, Christy is giving us a new something to remember when we think of January 6th, which is her annual Healing America event. And it's going to be a powerful global collaboration that we'll be doing here on the Awakening World. And Christy and I will be co-hosting, and we've got Pato and Antoinette joining us, Michaela Gaston, who's amazing, new authors that have not been on the show before, Jill Lubin, and Andrea Lieberstein is who provided that photograph of Celestine's the sky when Celestine passed.
Yeah, I wanted everyone to hear Jill Lublin talk because she's written a book called The Prophet of Kindness. And she has documented, it has these fabulous stories that just move you to tears about corporations that realize that if they incorporate kindness into how they're connecting with people and how they're relating with people, that makes their profits go up. And that builds a world where we have a world of compassion and kindness in our collective consciousness begins to shift, because we have to shift our consciousness We're too divisive and not enough harmony. And so that's why I support and love what Scott and Deborah Juicy have done with their efforts to get the Global Peace Drive on the map. And they have just, by the way, I hope you sell everybody, been picked up by Roku and Apple TV, and they're kind of going mainstream, I think, right?
Well, hopefully. So, what Christy's referencing is we're now carried right now by the Conscious Awakening Network, which in turn is available through Apple TV and Roku. So yeah, we are growing and expanding. And again, a reminder to everybody, if you haven't registered for the new season, please do so. And I am so grateful, better than Santa Claus showing up on Christmas Eve. One of his favorite little elf, my favorite little Santa elf dropped in. Kristin Hoffmann is here.
Yay!
And when I saw Kristin drop in, it was like, oh my God, look who got dropped in. Just so grateful to have you with us, Kristin.
Oh, well, I had to come be with you to celebrate your incredible life, Scott, for just a bit tonight. Just drop in and be present with you, your beloved soul family. And I have to say, that was so beautiful to get to know a bit more about Celestine's incredible life as well. I feel so honored that I had the chance to co-host with you on one of the shows where she was a speaker in the past year, and get to know her and feel her incredible energy. And just seeing those pictures in your slideshow, Christy, it just really brought my heart so much joy and warmth and love, and it's been so special to be here. So,
well, speaking of special, the best possible way to start a new year is with the vibration that you create. And you and Cornflower, I thought to myself, I think about 6 or 8 weeks ago, I said, would you guys do another concert on New Year's Day? And I'm so grateful that they agreed and said yes. So want to just encourage everybody to start the new year with Kristin and Cornflower. They met through Global Peace Tribe. They've done a few concerts together now. It's always an incredibly high vibration experience. And so this Sunday, a week from tomorrow, Sunday, January 1st, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. And Kristin, can you share a little bit about, for those of us or those who haven't experienced it before?
Yes, sure thing. Well, I'm really looking forward to this Rebirth 2023 concert. I think that there's no better way to step into a new year than through the doorway of music and togetherness. So Cornflower and I will be weaving a mix of songs that have been written and also some songs that are going to be birthed on the spot, with all of our energy contributing on the first day of the new year. And I just think it's such a great time, because usually we build up on New Year's Eve, and then on New Year's Day, we're often working with ourselves and our own internal landscape. And a lot of times I know I felt like I'm yearning for something to do that really assists in my stepping into the new year. And so if you're getting that feeling, please come join us. It's really going to be a positive time. Cornflower and I weave back and forth. So each of us do about 2 15 to 20 minute sets, and we have themes around each one, and it really is an incredible flow, and there's a mix of life storytelling and really stepping deep into the music. And this is going to be a chance for us to really elevate and tap into our dreams. And I would say that both Cornflower and I share a common intention in that whenever we open up a field to share music, the highest intention and purpose is that we open up a space so that you can reconnect to your divine spark and remember why you're here. What is your mission? What really lights up your heart and your spirit? That's what it's all about. So if we can help to reconnect you to that spark of you on New Year's Day, it will be I'll feel that my job is done. So please join us.
Oh, thank you. And thanks again, Krista. This is a spontaneous surprise that she dropped in.
Oh, well, I love you so much, Scott. And I'm just so grateful for you in my life, you in the world. What you are doing is so precious for so many people. You truly are holding the space of the awakening so that the world and so many spirits can wake up together at the same time. I'm just so grateful for you. Love you so much.
I love you too, Kristin. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Well, we're almost done. We're going to have a closing song from Omashar, but I need to kind of shyly acknowledge that Jarina from Ecuador put together a really beautiful video. And yes, it's my birthday tomorrow. My friends in Australia have already wished me a happy birthday. So anyway, this is a lovely little video that Jarina put together with the help of some of you. And so I, with great humility, am going to play this. And thank you very much, everybody. It goes on for quite a while, so you get the gist. Thank you to all of you that contributed. I see several of the people that are in the Zoom room that wrote these beautiful messages, and it means a lot to me. So thank you very much. And what I want for my birthday is to grow our global peace tribe. So please share our shows. Go to our YouTube channel. Take a look. The very first playlist that shows up are dynamic segments, and open it up and pick your favorite segments. Kristin Hoffmann playing while Keishi dances, Reverend Michael Beckwith, Marianne Williamson, and all of our favorite people. There's a lot of really wonderful segments. Pick one or two and show it to somebody. Create watch parties. Pick your favorite shows or segments, and that's a wonderful way to grow our tribe. Because honestly, after every show, I go, my God, that was such a great show. And instead of hundreds of people watching, I want thousands. And once we have thousands, I want it to be tens of thousands, and then I'm going to want it to be hundreds of thousands. Because the messages, the inspirations, what all of you share is so important. So let's really, this year, let's grow our peace tribe. That's my birthday wish. All right, thank you. We are, as we always do now, we're going to close with Omashar. If I can find him. There he is. Hey, brother.
Happy birthday, young man. Holy smoke.
Well, thank
Wow.
you.
I know, right? There are no words. There were actually some words coming up on the video that I sent to Darina to add to the whole thing. So hopefully you can look at it in your own time and receive the love from us all, because you are just so awesome. And I am so grateful, as we all are, for you in our lives. And I think that's the right way of saying it. And so in closing, almost closing, we are going to, if you're with yourself, hug yourself. If you're with a loved one, put your arms around them. And let's get all cozy here. Oh, not that one, this one. Woohoo, haha. Yes, we have no bananas. Right. Right.
It's snowing! Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Give yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are here to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Merry Christmas.
I'm going to gallery view. Everybody, I saw Twinkle, Beloved Omashar. It's awesome.
I didn't write that.
That's perfect. How wonderful. I just love that. That's really, really fun. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. Another beautiful, amazing show. Wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas. And we heard many different ways to celebrate the Christ energy, the light energy. And so in whatever way you choose to celebrate, to experience it, I'm honored to be able to share these amazing experiences with you every weekend. So thank you so much. We have a wonderful show next Friday night, Saturday night, and of course on Sunday, the New Year's Day concert. So please do register, share with your friends. Let's grow this out. And thank you for making this a beautiful Christmas Eve for me and a beautiful birthday.
Happy birthday, brother.
Take care, everybody. Much love to you all. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time. Everybody can twinkle. Here's Jasmine Bear giving me kisses. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Merry